Hello everyone, welcome to this demo session on SAP UI5. Thank you so much for all your love and response on YouTube and on my website regarding this training. From today onwards, we are starting a new batch on SAP UI5 and Fiori. This training will also include the OData creation using SAP NetWeaver Gateway System. The complete training will be done on SAP Web IDE Personal Edition. Throughout this training, you will learn the basics of HTML5, CSS, JavaScript and jQuery. I'm sure majority of you are from ABAP background or from BI, BO, BW background or probably from the portal and basis background. This training is designed in a way that even a college fresher can learn the concepts of SAP UI5. You don't need to have any prerequisite knowledge in order to attend this training. All you just need is a computer and an internet connection to be part of this training. And then you can learn SAP UI5 and Fiori development throughout this course. Along with this, we will also have complimentary OOPS ABAP sessions planned for you. And this training will be done with the latest concepts in SAP UI5, which includes component.js, manifest.json, router, route match handler, custom controls, and all of these latest codes. This training will be conducted without any copy paste. So majority of the trainers which you see online or throughout your corporate career, they will start opening a PDF document or probably some existing documents where they have ready-made examples. They will copy that code, ready-made code, paste it into the development environment and show you the output. This is how the training methodology was adopted by majority of the trainers online. I break that methodology, and in this training, we will write every single line of code at front of you, rather than doing a copy paste. Because when you do copy paste, it is high chances that you miss out some part of the code being explained to the students. And this is the way some trainers they misguide you by avoiding or skipping on the parts which they are also not aware of. So be careful, never copy paste the code until you understand the concepts. This is what one USP you will see along with my training. The training schedule and the course content is already available on onlinefiorytrainings.com. You can go and download the training course content there. So now with that, let's start with our session. And this session, I want to do it little differently before I start because I see many demo sessions have conducted and there is a pattern which I observe in many of these demo sessions. So it is important for me to wake you up and explain you what pattern do I see after my demo session. So with that, I would like to start this session a little differently rather than directly jumping onto the topic with this topic of alarm clock. How many of us have set up the alarm clock to wake up early into the morning? Many of us have done it, probably not using the alarm clock or maybe using the mobile phone. Now, some of us are so deep into the sleep, practically in the state of slumber, wherein even the alarm clock rings, everybody else wakens up, but we are still sleeping. I call those people as sleepers. Because when the alarm rings, they are the only people who set up the alarm, but they not wake up. The second type of people, when the alarm rings, they comfortably snooze it. So we have a nice snooze option in our alarm clock and in our mobile device to snooze. Snooze for 5 minutes. Again the alarm rings, again they snooze. After 4 or 5 snooze, they somehow wake up. I call these people as snoozers. The third category of the people who wake up with the first ring of the alarm, but they continue sitting up on their bed. And now they're thinking, who am I? Why I set up this alarm at the first place? And then they comfortably turn back and go back to their sleep. I call these people as fallers. And then comes as the last category of the people. When the alarm clock rings with the very first alarm, they wake up, they get out of their bed and hit the floor. And then they start their day-to-day activities. These are all the people whom I call wakers. Now my question to all of you, which of this category you are from? Because whenever I conduct a demo, whenever you see around you, there are so many changes in the technology. You've been working in ABAP or WebDin Pro or as a portal developer or as a BW developer, around you, there are so many changes happening. Every company now asking and moving to this new technology. In the world of SAP, you see the complete architecture is being changed from top to bottom, including the UI being changed to Fiori UIs. The backend layer is getting changed to the ABAP on HANA, and the database layer is getting changed to SAP HANA database. So you see tremendous amount of changes from top to bottom in different stack. People are talking about cloud, HANA Cloud Platform, SAP Cloud Platform, Cloud Foundry, SAP Leonardo, lot of new technologies coming in. And you kind of find yourself disconnected with it. You kind of find yourself separate from it. However, your friends and your colleagues are growing so fast into the industry and matching up to the skills. But you also know that you have to change. So now if I map the same concept here with this, when there is an industry who's demanding you to learn new things and do things right, I see again 4 different types of reactions. The very first one is sleepers. When you keep hearing about new things like UI5, Fiori, Launchpad, S4, you continue to hear and you know that you have to change. But you do not care. You still keep going into the old ways, old choices. You don't want to come out on the technology on which you're currently well versed with. Probably could be ABAP, probably could be Portal. But you don't even bother to hear these things and you keep doing things the way you've been doing. This will definitely be a hit for your career. Over a period of time, market will force you to change. And when market will force you to change, it will be a painful experience for you to change. Some of you might have already started experiencing it. The second category is snoozers. These are the people who hear new things and then they wake up and they say, yes, we have to change. We want to change. We have to do new things, but not right now though. Maybe tomorrow. Snooze. They keep postponing their learning. And this is what again will come back to them, which will again hit them. Some of the people who joined my demo today, many of you will go back. Maybe you have come to the demo. You want to hear the demo and see how will it go. Will I be able to learn? You know in your mind and heart that you have to change. But after the demo session, many of you go back to the old ways, complacent ways, not so right ways. And that will again, you will never be able to cap up with the new technology. The third type of people, followers. When the awakening comes to you, you actually start changing. You start learning. You start doing right things. But due to some reason, you go back to the old ways. These are all the people who sign up for my course. They start attending the course. After 4 or 5 sessions, they somehow drop out. They don't want to wake up. They don't want to continue. They don't want to practice. Please do not join my course if you are in the category of followers. I only want the people who will practice regularly with me, who are ready to work hard with me. I will work hard with you. And we are going to make this happen, and you will be able to build end-to-end Fiori transactional applications towards the end of this course. It's my promise to you. But if you are in the category of followers, you start doing Maybe you subscribe for the course and start learning it, 4, 5 sessions, 10 sessions, and after that you stop practicing or stop coming to the session because you have other commitments, you have deadlines, you have family issues. Please do not waste your money behind me. Please do not waste your time behind me. There are lots of other trainers who can give you training. You can go with them. Please do not take my course in that case. If you do not wish to continue for a long time, make your mind, make a decision, really want to go, pursue it with hard work. It needs a lot of hard work and commitment. So there's a difference between promise and commitment. Promise is what you make to the world. Commitment is what you make to yourself. You need to make a commitment to yourself that you have to learn, and you, no matter what happens, you will be practicing and you will be learning. I feel so disappointed when many of my students attend 10, 12, 13, 14 sessions, and after that, due to their some work or some deadline or something, did not wish to continue. Why did you waste your money, your hard-earned money? Don't do that. And finally, the category of wakers. These are all the people who I want in my demo, who I want in my training, who I want to be there with me. Because these are all the people who actually wake up and they start the process of transformation and they change the earliest. So guys, you have to decide which category you are from. Are you sleepers, snoozers, or fallers? Think right, do right, speak right, and be with me. I will take you through this journey of UI5 and we will together make an amazing Fiori application towards the end. You will see a great transformation in your professional life. You would get back that request, get back that respect which you had lost kind of over days. Chance is yours. You have to decide which category you are. I just want Wakers to be part of my batch. Do not join my course if you cannot continue for so long. With that, let's get started. This is the nutshell of the complete course content, what we have. The course is divided into 4 phases. The very first phase is basic foundation for SAP UI5, which includes HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. As I mentioned earlier, there is no prerequisite for this course. If you are a fresher, you can actually join this course. If you are an ABAPer, this course is designed for ABAPer. Don't worry about JavaScript. Don't worry about anything else. I will cover all of that as part of this course. The next phase, we will move to SAP UI5 Framework and Controls with the SAP UI5 architecture. We'll talk about what are the different libraries it offers, about the framework, control hierarchy, setter-getter methods, and all the different APIs and UI5 SDK to get started with the development process. In the third phase of the course, we will move to SAP Fiori User Experience, how to design Fiori User Experience, what is Fiori User Experience, how exactly we can work with creating a Fiori applications. In the next last phase of the course, we will talk about OData services, what exactly an OData service is all about, how do you use an OData service in your Fiori application, and then finally creating an end-to-end Fiori application with creating a OData service from scratch. This is what we will be doing, guys, all in all. So let's get started with our introduction of SAP UI5. Maybe after 15-20 minutes, I would give you an opportunity to ask questions about my demo session. Once again, so let me show you. All the different modes of training is already there on my website, onlinefioritrainings.com. Just go to the website, and from there, you can navigate to the training schedule for different variety of courses, including the different options for the training. So you can see here the complete course content can be downloaded for you to have a look at it. You can also download free interview questions on SAP UI5 and Fiori, including ABAP on HANA. I'm also teaching up the latest concepts. You can see continuously I'm taking the knowledge level to a next level. So a lot of new things are coming in industry, and all of them I'm keeping a track and bringing new courses for all of you. Now you can go here how it works, and in this you will find the information about the schedule of the training, the batch timings, including the options which you can go for. You can come down, you can see the variety of options. You can start with the live course, video-based course, or live come video-based course. These are all the three options available. Also the schedule of each of the course, when it is next available, what is the current batch going on, what is the duration, course content, demo video, highlights of the course, and a screenshot of my existing video-based training. You can go through this and make a choice and decide what exactly is best suitable for you. Coming back, let's get started with introduction of SAP UI5. Before we start, let's talk about the prerequisite. What is the prerequisite required to learn SAP UI5? Many of you have asked this question over the email to you, and I've also asked all of you to wait for the demo session. So what is the prerequisite? What is the first, at the first level, the knowledge I need to have to learn SAP UI5? So what is the prerequisite for learning UI5? To learn the UI5, you need to know the basics of HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. But that's, as I mentioned, it's part of my course. You don't need to know anything if you're attending this session with me. There is literally no need to learn anything or know anything. The programming language which we use will be JavaScript. We will be using JavaScript programming language, guys. Okay, and all of this will be part of course. Yeah, all of this will be part of our course. I will teach you JavaScript as part of this course, whatever, how much ever it's needed. Okay. Now, one important thing that many of you may think, that is JavaScript somehow related to Java? No. JavaScript and Java are different in their design, nature, and usage. The JavaScript programming language is a scripting programming language and sometimes called as a programming language for web. It's easy to learn. Even a college pass out or college student can learn this. You will see it so easy when I take you to the JavaScript unit. Now the next important question which you ask is, what will be our development environment? Our development environment is going to be SAP Web IDE Personal Edition. I will also explain how to set up the development environment in your system. This will be also covered in the course. So as I mentioned, there is literally zero need for you to know anything. This will be our development environment, SAP Web IDE Personal Edition. And I'm going to teach you how to set up this development environment in your system. So you don't need to come up with anything. Just have an internet connection and a laptop. That's it. You can start developing UI5 applications. It's free, guys. I will show you how to set up that in the course. That will be our next unit. From tomorrow onwards, we'll start first with the development environment. The next question, what about OData? So yes, for OData, you need server access. Now there are three different options for the OData server. The very first option, just to test the gateway and OData basics, we use a free server provided by SAP called ES5. It's freely available on internet. You can set up a user in this server and start consuming get operations of your OData. that is possible with the help of this. Okay, so I will show you how to use this server for basic get operations of the OData service. However, if you're interested to build the OData service, there's another option. I can offer you another OData server. It's an S4HANA 1610 on-premise edition server with SAP NetWeaver 7.51 on top of SAP HANA 2.0 SPS 02 server with gateway enabled and Fiori 2.0 with Launchpad. This is what is available, and it's on demand. If you want a server access, you can come to me. I will let you know the details of this, and then you can access this server. Just to show you a quick glimpse of this server, I just go back to my web IDE, and you can see we had in the last batch created a couple of projects, and we had created one project where we have an end-to-end POC which is talking to an OData service created in our S4HANA server. So let me just quickly show you. So end-to-end POC which we created in the last batch, which I've just recently completed, and we designed the OData service ourselves in this. We designed everything ourselves, complete OData, everything, and you see it's asking me the credentials for my server. The beauty of this server is you can connect this OData server from your local computer. Yeah, that's the beauty. So it will feel like as if you're working in your company. Yeah, it will feel like that, as if you are sitting in your company. So maybe just quickly check why it's not logging me in. Just give me a sec. I'll check it. Is my caps lock on? Okay, looks like my user is not working. Just give me a second. I'll check this. Why my user not working? Maybe I'll just check it in a minute and get back. So this is the OData. This is the Fiori application which we created throughout, and it's built on this S4 HANA server, guys. This is what it is built on. I will show you in a minute the server access, and then you can actually opt for this. If you have already an OData server in your company, you can definitely go ahead and use that. So that will be the option for OData access. Now moving on to the quickly, what is going on in industry? What is the architecture which we have now? So as you all know, the three-tier architecture, we have a presentation layer, which is currently your SAP GUI layer, where you connect to the SAP application server. That's your middleware layer, your SAP basis. So this is your application layer. And then finally, you have your database layer in the system in a typical SAP environment. This is your database layer. So this is your typical three-tier architecture. And now if you look at, there are tremendous amount of changes over a period of time which has happened to this layer. SAP is more talking about now the user experience, how to improve the user experience. And for that, in that area, SAP have come up with a new UI technology called SAP Fiori. So be it like S4HANA product or be it like IBP or SuccessFactors, majority of the SAP products are now built with SAP Fiori user experience. This is what I see, or you see, as a trend changing into the industry right now. Yeah, and that's why there is a need for you to adopt and learn this new technology, because the new front end is no more the WebDim Pro, no more the BSP, no more the portal, or no more this SAP GUI. It is all about the OData service, guys, and Fiori applications. Okay, so let me just quickly now connect. I think I've got my user. So just show you this application which I've created. I think there's some problem in my server itself. Okay, there's some problem, guys. I think I have to check my gateway settings, but maybe I just show you connecting to this S4 system from my SAP GUI. So what is the evolution of the front-end layer which has happened over a period of time? Initially, we have SAP GUI, and then there was a dot-com bubble, and SAP wanted to go more on the browser side. So what changes have happened in industry? We have got new web technologies by SAP, and this web technology there were two technologies which SAP introduced in the world of front-end area. One was business server pages, BSP technology. Majority of the CRM screens are built using BSP. And then we have WebDin Pro. WebDin Pro was available in two flavors. One was WebDin Pro for ABAP and WebDin Pro for Java. And now you see in industry, people are more talking about mobile devices, responsive web applications, usage on tablet, usage on cloud, anywhere, on any time, on any device, on any operating system. This is what people are talking about. And that's where there was a need to introduce a new UI technology which can cater to such an enterprise need. And that's where the evolution of SAP Fiori has happened. So the framework underlying that is UI5, and Fiori is about the user experience. We are going to answer these typical questions which tickles in your mind every time. Now, the beauty of this technology, it has a very good support for variety of devices, be it a mobile, tablet, or desktop. It is the technology on which all the modern or upcoming products of SAP are built on. And that's the reason we are all here for this demo session, to attend and understand this technology. With that, let me move on to the system. And before that, maybe I will show you an example of what typically a flow of a program looks like in SAP UI5. So whenever you start any program, you have, so as in the demo, I would like to demonstrate you creating a very simple UI5 application or a Fiori application. So as and when you start with the program, what is that you start with? So a start of a program, sections of a program. Typically, when you write a new program or a new application, what is that you always start with? The very first thing which we start with, initialization. So we write with an initialization code where we have to load all the necessary files and the dependencies at the beginning of our program. So this is exactly here what we do in SAP UI5. We load the SAP UI5 library, or I would call framework. Now, many of you may think, what is this word called framework? So maybe many times we hear word called framework. So you say .NET framework, yeah, WebDin Pro framework, SAP UI5 framework. What is this word framework means? What is it? Framework means it is a collection of libraries. Collection of libraries. Then you may think, Anubhav, what is libraries? Library is a collection of classes. What is a class? Class is a collection of methods. In the industry, you see over a period of time, software industry have evolved a big. Every time now you don't have to write the code yourself for doing every tiny little bit of thing. There are frameworks available in the market who can do the job for you. For example, if I want to create an Excel sheet, I don't have to go and write a C program to create an Excel sheet. There are ready-made frameworks in programming languages, be it Java, be it .NET, be it any of these technologies, where you can just inherit a module, inherit or reuse something which is already provided by the technology. And then you just pump in your input to that technology and it creates the Excel sheet for you. And that's the trend in the industry. You see more and more wrappers are created, more and more libraries are created which are reusable to reduce your development effort. So by using these frameworks, libraries, and functions, you can do the most common tasks which you earlier probably used to do manually yourself by writing every tiny bit of code in C programming or probably in the kernel programs. Yeah? So that's where SAP UI5 was also introduced. It's a framework which is a collection of libraries, and these libraries indeed in terms contains the classes, and each class has variety of methods. Some of the example of these libraries: sap.m library. sap.ui.layout library, sap.ui.comp, sap.ui.commons, which is a deprecated one, however, and then you have sap.vis, visualization, charts. These are different libraries which SAP provides, and all of them are packaged inside something called SAP UI5 Framework. So when you start a fresh application, as part of your initialization, you have to load this framework. And within this framework, then you have to say which library you want to choose to get started with your development. Yeah, this is what you have to do. So what is the code snippet we use in order to write a program to load this SAP UI5 framework? So there is a code snippet which I will just tell you. I will explain you the detail of this code maybe in upcoming days when we start learning JavaScript. So you got to load this framework using a code, and that code is called script tag, and then you have to say script tag SID, and then say sap.ui-bootstrap. Since it's an initialization code, you are initializing something, you are just starting something new, something fresh, you say initialization. And as you all know, this initialization process is called booting. Like when you start your computer boots up, it loads the entire operating system from secondary memory, which is hard disk, to the primary memory, which is RAM. Similarly here, this is a process where you're going to launch and load your UI5 framework first time. Yeah, this is what exactly you're doing. So that's why the ID is SAP UI Bootstrap. Then you have SRC. You have to give the path where the framework is. Where is this UI5 framework? There are multiple options. You can load this UI5 framework from variety of places. I'm going to discuss that also in detail in our course. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste a URL for here. So we will actually load it from internet. So I will be putting a URL over here. And then you have to put data hyphen SAP UI lips. As I was mentioning, that this framework comes with collection of libraries. If you load all the libraries, probably you are going to hit a performance lag because it has numerous number of libraries. So probably you don't want to use all of them, and it will never happen that you use all of them together in a single application. You would probably not do. So you have to mention which exactly is the library you're going to use in your project. So maybe I want to use just a mobile library. So I can say sap.m. That's the library name I mentioned. And then you have an additional property called theme parameter. So SAP data SAP UI theme parameter, where now you have to say how will be my application look and feel will be. How will my application look and feel will be? Yeah, this is what you will be mentioning in SAP UI theme parameter. So the typical theme which we use is SAP Blue Crystal. So I will explain you about theming more in detail when we go to the CSS unit of our course. So don't panic right now, it's a demo session. So just to explain you and make you understand my style of teaching, how do I teach without copy paste, how do I exactly try to replicate my thought with you. This is just a demo session, but however, deep into the details of every single bit of it, we're going to see it in the system. Right from the first day, we will look at starting of installation and then moving on in detail of these things in more detail. So that's the first step of writing your new SAP UI5 application. You have to do an initialization. That's a first step. Typically, when you create a new program in your company for any programming language for that matter. Remember in C programming, we used to load hashtag include studio.h, hashtag include conio.h. So what we were doing, we were using pre-processor directives. We just loading them, initializing them so that we can use printf function, scanf function, and stuff like that. Same thing happens here. We are initializing the UI5 framework. The next part of the code, it starts with the declaration part. You have to declare now your variables. That's the next phase of writing any program. So in SAP UI5, we also have to declare our objects. So we are going to work with JavaScript programming and how you create an object in JavaScript. What is the syntax? So what is the syntax to create a JavaScript object in JavaScript? So it's var o object name equals to new, your class name. This is how you create a new object in JavaScript. Taking into the same example in SAP UI5, if you want to create a new program or new UI control, for example, I want to create a button. Remember guys, it's a UI technology. You're going to design a screen using this. Okay, so you will be creating probably a button or a chart or a table or an input field or maybe a list control. All of these are UI controls which are part of these libraries. So look at it. Framework, it has a library, we loaded library, and inside library you have classes, you have controls. So I'm going to create now a button control. So what will be my syntax? So var, and you can say button, any name you like, you can give new SAP library name. SAP.m is a library. In this there is a class called button class. So I'm going to put the button class. Now you may be thinking, Anubhav, how do you know that there is a button class inside? I will show that in the system. There's something called SAP UI5 SDK, where I will take you through and make you understand how can you read the documentation provided by SAP for each of the control. There's a concept called aggregation, properties, methods, events. We're going to talk about all of that in our 5th unit of SAP UI5 course. Now, after that, you got to put SID, comma, properties. This is what we will be doing. So what is SID here? SID is the ID of the UI control. And S properties is the properties of UI control. So we will be putting these different properties of the UI control, like what will be my label of the button, what will be the width of my button, what will be the size of my button, what will be the color of my button, will there be any click action, when you click on the button what should happen. All of that you're going to put in the properties section. Now remember, we are going to use JavaScript programming language. So when we are using JavaScript programming language, we have to take care of symbols. Symbols are very, very important in JavaScript. Now, many times it may feel like very trivial, Anubhav. You are talking very, like very basic. Yes, it is very basic, but it will break you or it will make you. Remember, this is an important point. Symbols will break you and symbols will make you when you're writing the program in UI5. The very first symbol is this one. This is a special symbol. We call it as, some people call it as bracket. It's actually not bracket. When you're working with UI5 with an experienced developer, you will realize the meaning of these symbols. In fact, in our course, throughout the course, you will realize the meaning of these symbols in UI5 and in JavaScript. This is called parenthesis. Okay. This is called parenthesis, not called bracket. It's a very often mistake with even 5-year, 6-year or 3-year, 4-year experienced person do. They call these symbols little wrong. And this shows how deepen your knowledge is about the technology. Anybody can quickly guess what with what you say. What they hear, they will immediately guess that you have probably a coding, but you have zero knowledge. Yeah, zero in-depth knowledge. So then the second symbol comes is this one. This is called middle bracket, some people call it as, but actually it is called braces. Okay, and the last one is this one. It's called big parenthesis, or you can call it as, this is actually called brackets. So these are all the symbols which we are going to use in our course heavily, and the programming technique, which is JavaScript here, we will be using these symbols, and I will explain you the meaning of each of these symbols. They all pertains to different meaning, guys. Remember, so symbols will break you and make you. I will go till the deep level, till the very basic level, no matter what background you come from. Maybe you are a champion already, you're working already in the UI5, but my course will be designed in a fashion where even you are a basic beginner, or you are an intermediate, or you are an expert, you're going to throughout the course going to learn everything from scratch till the advanced level. Not even a small silly thing I will miss out. Even these small things which you probably missing out in your life could be affecting you somewhere where you don't even know it's affecting you. Yeah, so we will be discussing that also into the details. So now, looking into the syntax, the declaration part, once the declaration is done, You're now going to write your code probably, and then finally you're going to output something on the UI. So after the declaration, you are probably going to write the code. So you're going to write your orchestration code or the processing logic. That's the next part of a program. And then finally, you're going to just showcase some output on the UI. And then you may be writing a cleanup code at the end. So this is the flow of a typical program. Now, when it comes to processing logic, we will see some example of writing a very simple processing logic. For example, when I click on button, what should happen? This is what we will be looking at with the processing logic. On the output UI, we're going to display the control which we created. Okay, this is what we will be doing. Display the button control which we created. So for example, here we created the button. I'm going to display that on the user interface. So for that we will be using, so remember always this framework has library has classes has methods. So here in this case, now you create an object of this button class. This button class object have now methods. You can use these methods to perform different tasks. For example, when I click on the button, I want to hide the button. I want to make the button disable. I want to change the size of the button. I want to do probably change color of the button. All that you can do with the help of these methods. Yeah, all the methods are available for you to consume. So remember, framework, library, classes, and methods. That's our ultimate goal. This is how we are traversing. Watch out this. So now I'll go to the system and I'm going to create a very simple UI5 application, a very simple page, a web page. And remember, all of you, web page always is a typical HTML page. What is an HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. We have a complete unit coming on HTML. In our second session, we'll start with HTML basics. Now, typically an HTML file contains a header, which is the brain of HTML. And then it contains the body, which is actually the content of HTML, which will be displayed to the user. So you have to place, so remember one golden rule, when we want to display something on user interface, we have to use the body of HTML. We're going to put things into the body of HTML. That's when you're going to see something on the UI. That's a golden or general rule while coding in HTML. So the object which you created will not be displayed until unless you place that object inside the body of HTML. Yeah, it will not be displayed. We're going to do that also. So let's go to the system, follow the PPT, and create our program in these different sections. So I'm just going to come back to my web IDE. Now guys, some of you may think that how did we install this web IDE? How did we start with this? All these things I'm going to explain in our next unit, very first unit in tomorrow's class, how exactly to get started with the creation of your first application or setting up your web IDE development environment. I'm going to do that in our next session. Very next session, I will show you from basics how to set up this development environment. Now, those who are probably want to just see it right away, you can also go to my YouTube channel. So that's my YouTube channel, and I have a variety of training videos over here. So you can also go to the UI5 playlist. So I just go to my channel, and here I have a playlist, and in the playlist I have a playlist on UI5 and Fiori training. You can see. And in this, you will have a video on getting started with Web IDE for Fiori, Web IDE Personal Edition. This is the video which I have. Those who are pre-interested in doing it, you can also follow this video. Not all the videos, not all the content is available here. Complete training is exclusively available only with my website. Here, just sample demos and some demos from the middle have been posted so that people can actually go ahead and understand what's going on. Yeah. So just sample demos are posted here, not the complete training. Complete training anyways, we will be doing it, going it through. Yeah, that's about my playlist, and I just come back. So let me start a new application. So I say new, and I can just give here June demo. That's a folder I'm creating, new project. I'm just going to add a new file in this, maybe called index.html. I'm just starting with a very basic HTML page. And now what we will do is we will just write here in HTML declaration. So doc type HTML, and then we will just start with an HTML tag and then header. So as I told you, an HTML page has a header and a body. So that's what we have, an header and a body tag. Now inside the body of HTML, I just say maybe h1 tag, or probably I just say div element. Div stands for division tag. We're going to discuss in detail about these tags, the structure of an HTML once again with our basic unit on HTML5. So don't worry. And I say welcome to SAP UI5. Save this. I'm just going to click on run button to display this page. You can see it's creating a very first web application for you. Very, very simple, just like a hello world example. Let me launch this in another session altogether so that we can see it better. Yes, you can see welcome to SAP UI5. That's what exactly we are doing. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the instruction which I've noted down in PPT to load first the UI5 framework. So let's go ahead and start that. So now I will come to header tag and I'm going to write loading of UI5. So I just say script tag and I say ID SAP-UI-bootstrap, and then I put src, the source of the file. I'm going to get that in a minute, and then I'm going to put data-sap-ui-libs. I want to load sap.m library alone, and then data-sap-ui-theme, and I want to load SAP Blue Crystal theme. Okay, step by step, guys, no copy paste. So that's my script tag now. You can see. Now, time to load the SAP UI5 framework from internet. So I'm going to give here a URL to load SAP UI5 framework from internet. So SAP offers this on internet. So I just can search for SAP UI5 framework. CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. All these terms are internet terms. I'm going to make them used to you over a period of time. So it will not happen in one day, but yes, of course, you will see that happening over a period of time. You will be able to understand that. So it's actually available here. Okay, SAP UI5. So what is CDN? What is Akamai CDN? All that we're going to discuss in detail in upcoming days. Okay. So you can see this is the URL from where I can load SAP UI5 framework. I can just put it on the top, and then I can say resource / SAP UI core.js. I press that enter on the URL, and oops, not found. SAP UI5 resources SAP UI core.js. It's resources, guys. You can see it's loading up. This is the framework, guys, complete framework, UI5 framework. It's loading here. So take this URL and paste that URL over here. So this is where we are initializing the UI5 framework. There are multiple ways to do that. You can also do local initialization. I'm going to teach that also in upcoming days. Right now, just stick to it, that understand that this is a basic initialization code to load UI5 framework. You're invoking it. Just like in C program, you invoke studio.h, conio.h. We're invoking UI5 framework here. That's step number one. Step number two, we are now going to write our variable declaration. So any code what you have to write has to be in the script and script tag. What is the reason? We're going to talk about that in the JavaScript unit. So now I create var o anubhav. So I'm creating actually a variable, anubhav variable. O stands for object. Because I'm creating an object variable, I just start follow naming convention. My duty is not to teach you the concept, but to also teach you the best practices in industry. Because when you look at somebody else's written code, you can easily understand it because they also follow the best practice. So nobody can point out to your work in future. If you learn with me, then you will learn all the standard practices as well into the code. Coming OK. Now say new sap.m library, and I want to create a button control. So that's what I put here, curly braces, and now I say text of the button, and I say click me, and then I say press. Whenever I click on the button, what should happen? Maybe I'll put that later. So I just right now put a text of the button, and that's my part. You can see the button object is created. Will this button be displayed on the UI or not? Anybody? Do you think this button will be displayed on the UI or not? Answer is no. Just now we saw, because whatever you put in the body, only that will be displayed. This is what we saw. So if I just refresh on the right side, you see still your button not displayed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new div element over here, and I say ID of this div element is, let's say, my control, and I'm just going to save this. And now I'm going to tell the system, this button control, there's a method inside this, which I'm going to say to the method that please place my button inside this control. Okay, please place, this is my placeholder which is going to contain the control. So what I'm going to tell the system, that you have now a control, you have now a button, please take this control and put it inside this div tag at runtime. Okay, so when you run the code, this button object is created and then it is placed inside this my control. So div here is a container. This container is going to contain your button control. So we're going to send it to the container. And how do you do that? There's a method called place at method. Using that you do it. Now how do I know that there is a place at method? I don't know. I will teach you a concept called UI5 SDK, where you can go and explore these methods yourself. I will make you self-dependent. You would not need any trainer. You would not need anybody else in your life to help you. Don't run behind people to help you. Help yourself and help others. That's how I will make you in this course. Now coming back, I'm just going to place my control over here. That's it, save it. And now watch out. On the right hand side, I can go and refresh my page. You would see my button will be displayed on the user interface. So I come on the right and refresh, and you can see my button is coming up. Click me. Right now when I click, nothing happens. Reason is very simple. We have not written the code for the event of this button. Another interesting thing I want to show you, that how will the look and feel of this whole application can change quickly without we doing much of effort. SAP UI5 provides you this theme parameter. This is a theme. Theme is actually to change look and feel of your application. So we have already applied the theme SAP Blue Crystal. It will not work until or unless, actually it is already in place and it's working, because you see your button is coming in the big, like a big button. If you just put an HTML button, you will realize the difference. If I just put an HTML button with the text, this is an HTML button, you will realize the difference between actual HTML button and this button. You see, this is how an HTML button looks like, and this is your UI5 button. Yeah, you see the difference between them, because SAP applies this theme already. When the theme is applied, the look and feel of your control, look and feel your application is different. Okay, so this is a core HTML button, but this is a UI5 HTML button. You can see the difference. So now to make it also look more like a Fiori application, you can come here to the body and put a class called SAP UI body. When you do this, the whole page, the entire page will also get a theme. Okay, that theme is called Blue Crystal. Refresh, and now you see the whole page turned into little blue color. That's Blue Crystal theme by SAP UI5. Don't panic about these things right now. Maybe some of these things you may not have understood at all. Don't worry, we will start with very basic. This is just a demo session. So we'll start with very basic, and that will be my style of teaching. Every single line of code I'm going to write in front of you. No copy paste, and I will not encourage any of my students to also do copy paste. Okay, so with that, I think we are on time. Closing up, any questions? Now the floor is open for all of you to ask your questions. Feel free to ask your questions. Please unmute your line and feel free to ask your questions one by one, please.
Hi, Anbu. This is Srini here.
Yes, please.
Yeah. In this session, are you going to teach this deployment option also, how to deploy?
Yes, we
onto the server.
will first have to build the app to deploy. After building the app, only we can deploy them. So we go phase by phase. We first build the application. We create the application also in the backend as in OData, and then we connect them together. And once they are built together, we're gonna deploy that, yeah, to the ABAP system.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, let me just see if my S4HANA server is up. I can just show you also this server where we are building majority of our examples. Everything we're building inside here. Okay, my user is locked. To try with my another user, then just check that.
Hi, Raman.
Yes, hi.
Will it is like getting the data from the OData service, fetching the data from OData service and displaying into the UI5 using tables or something like that?
Yes, we will do that exactly. Exactly, we will do that. We will create database table. We will create, or basically we'll reuse something. We'll create OData service, and then we consume that OData service in our Fiori application. We'll do that actually. So I'm
Okay.
currently not able to.
So will we?
Yeah, yeah.
So will be doing through JSON format or something?
Yes, we'll use JSON format. Now, before we reach to this high level, maybe you already have some experience. So those who are fresh, those who are just out of a BAP, and you want to learn
Yeah.
this, what is JSON? I'm gonna first explain what is JSON, and then I will take you to the JSON
That's
format.
all.
So we will not,
Yeah.
directly say, okay, this is a JSON. It will never happen. As you will see my style of teaching, I'll start with very scratch, very, very basics.
Sure.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Hi, Anbar.
hi.
You just all these Fiori applications are built only in WebID, or even you will show some example using Eclipse.
Okay, just to inform once again, this is a very often question asked by many of you, Eclipse or Web IDE. So they are just development environments. You need to understand that your code will not change. It's like when you write an ABAP code in SE38, okay, if you go and write your ABAP code in SE38, and when you're writing code in SE80, will your code change? Will the way you coding will
No.
change? No, it will not change.
No.
Same thing applies here. Eclipse is just a development tool. WebID is also a development tool. And there's another third development tool in market called Neptune, which people are also coming and they are using it. So they are just development environments and tools where you build it, but your code never change as per that. Okay. Your code never changes when it comes to, is still those who are very peculiar and concerned about WebID versus Eclipse. I have a very good video on my website. Go to my website onlinefioritrainings.com. Since this was a question asked by many of you, I have created a video already about this topic on Anubhav Learning Series, an exclusive learning series for students who have completed my course. They can go ahead and access these videos for free. And there's a video which I've created, the difference between WebIDE and Eclipse, how to decide what to use. Please go through this video. It has ample amount of content to convince anybody in your company, to convince your manager, your management, that WebIDE is the way forward for development, not the Eclipse. Go through this video, please. You will understand a fair amount of details, which one to use when. Okay? Go through this free video. Any other question, Venkat? I'm muting your line then. Okay, anybody else? Any other question? Feel free to ask. Yes, Raja.
Yeah. Hi, Anubhav.
Yeah.
Actually, just now I joined. Actually, I'm not aware of that session. Just to check my mobile. Could you please send go to meeting? Do you have my mail ID? Oh, okay. One more. Just I want to talk. Can I talk the session?
So I will just quickly show you how do you join my sessions regularly. So what we will do is I will create a special blog for you like this. Please mute your line. So we will have a blog like this. In this training blog, you will find this is a one single stop shop for all your needs. In this, you will find class schedule over here, where you will find the calendar invite to join the regular class. You can see here the calendar invite. With this calendar invite, you can actually join the classes by following these calendar invites. So daily, you will also get notification from my calendar invite. However, you can come to class schedule, double click on this link, double click on this calendar. So you can see there's a session planned tomorrow. You can double click on this. It will open up the meeting invite, and then you can connect to that meeting on everyday basis. If there is a cancellation in the class, you will be knowing it from here. Then you will also have all the sessions getting recorded, and these recorded sessions will be posted on our training blog. You can go and watch them anytime, whenever you like. Suppose you miss a class because of some uncertain reason, you can come back and look at the video of that class also. If you want to refer back what I taught you today, all that will also be available. You can see this is how we will start setting up web IDE, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, scaffolding, UI5 introduction, SDK, view types, MVC architecture, global variables, binding modes, binding types, table control, element binding, formatters, fragments, expressions, all these topics. You see all the video. This is an already completed batch, which I had just recently completed, just to showcase you how will it be. All the study material, PPTs, PDF documents, projects, whatever I will showcase, whatever I will use, all of that will be also available here in this study material section. All the links which I will demonstrate will also be available in useful link section, so you don't have to refer anything else. This is a single stop shop for all your training. The complete training is controlled by this blog. This blog access, you're going to get it today. So once you enroll for the course, this blog access will be granted to you so that you will be notified for the session starting tomorrow. So if you want to enroll for the course, please feel free to drop me an email on anubhav.abap@gmail.com. So please send me an email on my email ID, and I will enroll you for the course today. And then from tomorrow onwards, you will join our first session. So remember, don't miss out any session, because then you will feel disconnected. If you're really interested, if you're really a waker, feel free to come back and start. As I already mentioned, the example initially, the difference between waker, snoozer, yeah, all that, you're smart, you know what to do. So decision is yours, guys.
Final.
Yes, please.
Yeah, final question. How long this access will be given for videos?
8 months from the day of
8 months. Okay. Suppose when we are practicing, we are encountering some error, whom we can take the help of, like somebody will be there on online, or
you can drop your questions over the email to me, or you can also post the question in our training blog here. Discussion and blog post. Other student will also be able to look into it, and they can answer these questions. So you can see, like, people are posting question and I'm answering them. Yeah. So you can post your questions. You can send your project. You can mail me, and then other students will also collaborate with you over here. They can answer your questions, and I can also answer your questions in this.
Anubhav, you will be the single trainer for whole course, or will there be multiple trainers?
Yes, I am the only trainer who is teaching, except Hybrid C4C. I am teaching everything. I was an ABAPer, and I was working in ABAP and maybe WebDin Pro ABAP for so long. And then 4 years back, I've decided to, I saw industry was changing so fast, and I've decided to switch to UI5 very early days. And that's the magic which is happening. Is I'm also offering ABAP on HANA and S4HANA technical training here. We are building analytical apps, CDS views, AMDPs, SQL script, HANA database, modelings, ADBC, performance tuning, new ABAP syntax, NetWeaver 7.4, 7.5, CDS views, UI annotations, analytical annotations with CDS views, Fiori applications, smart filter application using CDS annotations, S4HANA related stuff, virtual data modeling in S4. All these things I'm covering in this course. Yeah, and then I've recently started native.
Yeah, Anubhav.
Yes.
Yeah, so actually my question is, how much ABAP knowledge is required for this course, as I'm not a ABAPer.
Yeah, this course actually, for OData creation only you need ABAP. 90 or 80% of the course, no ABAP knowledge required. No ABAP knowledge required, 80% of the course. If you are just college pass out with an internet connection and a laptop, done. That's what I need from you. And a hard work commitment, that's it. You can learn end-to-end development completely. Zero ABAP, only ABAP knowledge is required to code the OData in the gateway. Okay, that's where the ABAP is required. ABAP is not required at all. 80% of the course is for non-ABAPers. Even ABAP people have to learn all the 80% of the part. Completely new stuff for ABAPers as well. So don't panic that you need ABAP. No, you don't need. Okay.
Okay.
Great. So
Actually, in your website, it was listed like it this.
Yeah. Hello.
yeah, tell me, Gortik.
Yeah, you're going to explain the sessions on XML or JavaScript?
Yes, I will also explain the basics of XML and basics of JavaScript, and then we will move on to the views, XML views view. Yeah, we will be coding everything in XML views because SAP standard is XML views. If you look at any standard Fiori application built by SAP, you will see all the views types are XML views. And that's also one USP of my course. Other trainers are teaching JavaScript views. I will teach XML views. Okay. Okay, guys, great. Feel free to drop me your questions and feel free to drop me an email about all the further things which you have in your mind. With that, I would sign out from this demo session. Thank you so much for your time.
Anbol, like,
Yes. Last question, over to you.
Yeah, yeah. So just wanted to ask, like, are you going to provide support for SAP Access or?
I will not provide server access right away.
But I just wanted to know.
Okay, I understand your question. So your question is, currently I've designed it with JavaScript, my current application, but you would want to probably see it in XML form. Actually, this is not the way we develop. We don't have a concept of view at all right now. We just have a simple HTML5 to launch UI5 framework and show you a button control. In the real time, we're going to go with MVC architecture. So I'll show you quickly how will your project structure will look like. When you design a project, your project structure will look like something this. Each and every folder we're going to design. Each and every artifact we're going to talk about. This component JS, we have views, XML views, we have controllers, we have fragments, we have formatters, we have model JS, we have utility files, we have images, we have I18, and this is the proper folder structure, manifest JSON, neo app JSON. What are all these files? We're going to talk about each one of them in detail. It's not possible to talk about these things in a single 1 hour demo session, and that's why we have a 40 hours of complete end-to-end training design. So we're going to use MVC architecture.
This session is available on weekends also?
No, right?
Only weekdays.
No weekend classes on UI5. Weekend day, I'm teaching ABAP on HANA and S4 and HANA Access Advanced. So that's currently blocked for weekend sessions. Only weekdays this UI5.
May I know when that HANA classes will start?
ABAP on HANA, we have a new batch coming from 23rd of June. It's a weekend batch.
Oh.
7 to 9 p.m. IST. That's what
what about the server in the sense, are you going to give the server SAP web ID with the backend server?
Same option for server. It's on demand. If you need it, you can take it. If you don't need, you can use your company server. I've also showed an option to set up your own server in Amazon Web Server. So just go to my YouTube channel one more time. I'll just take you to my YouTube channel and show you how to set up your own ABAP on HANA server yourself in Amazon Cloud. You can see this is the video. I will put this link into the chat window. Please go through this link, click on that. You will see how to set up your own server in ABAP on for ABAP on HANA in Amazon Cloud with SAP Cloud Application Library. So you will bear all the cost for this yourself. You can set up yourself, guys, all of this. It's covered in my this video. I've already sent you the link. So go through that. If you want a server me to arrange, I can also arrange it for you.
To our system, then in SAP WebDB it is working on in Eclipse it's not working. So if you have
Could
any
be the
doubts in
reason
Eclipse
of
also,
your-
are you going to
Yeah,
clear those?
I understood. So the question here is, I have a UI5 application code which is working good with Web IDE. However, when I run the same code and deploying in the Eclipse, it's not working. The reason could be very simple. The UI5 version. If you come to Eclipse, go to help, go to check for updates or install new software, you will find the SAP UI5 version installed in your Eclipse. Okay, that you will find it over here. Let me just show you. So you can see here SAP UI5 version, which is currently there in my Eclipse is 1.54. Okay, but the version of your Web ID could be higher, and in Eclipse maybe you have 1.28. However, on the Web IDE side you have 1.44, and in your ABAP server you may have 1.46 or 48. I don't know. You got to check this version carefully. Because of this version mismatch, many times you have an app which is sometimes run locally, but when you deploy it doesn't run. You have an app which is running locally in WebID, but when you put it on Eclipse, it doesn't work. You on the same side, you have an app in the Eclipse, but when you put it on WebID, it doesn't work. However, when you put in the server, it works. So that is because of this version of UI5. I'm going to discuss about this version also in detail. What are all the pros and cons, which can hamper your application. This is the depth knowledge I was talking about. You will get it with this course, so you'll be able to gauge such issues.
No, yeah, actually I understood the version is same, but the thing is when I'm deploying only UI buttons and all, it is working. If I develop from SAP WebDB and deploying same in Eclipse, it is working. And calling the OData service if I'm using in SAP WebID,
for
it is
that, you
working.
have to do an
It's not working.
OData configuration. This is called CORS issue, cross origin resource sharing issue. You must be getting. For that, the Eclipse provides us, SAP UI5 runtime component. I have to check out that. I will explain you that in the course. During our course, I will take, a short introduction of how to connect from Eclipse to the WebID. However, if you immediately want to see, go to my website, go to Anubhav Learning Series. Okay, go there, and there is a video. There is a video how to run your application on Eclipse.
Yeah. I'll go through the video. My doubt is here. See, once we are going through the course, if you have any doubts, we can share our screen and we can clear our doubts through Eclipse, right? If something is not working, because the real-time project I'm working on,
Right.
So I have to know via Eclipse only we have to use. That is the mandatory. So from there, how to access and why it is not working, that are all the doubts I wanted to clear.
Yeah, sure, no problem. You can clear that. However, immediately, so it will not be possible for me to answer all your doubt in maybe 1 hour session or 2 hour session. So that's why I am continuously improving and putting majority of the things which are so common. Your scenario is very common. It's not unique. It's a very common scenario everybody may face. That's why I had posted a video already how to port a project from WebIDE to Eclipse. See this video. How to export project from WebIDE to Eclipse and make it work with Eclipse. Go through this video, please. You will understand. Your doubt will be solved. So many things which are very, very common. I'm anyways creating YouTube video for those things. Many things which are exclusively only from the scratch of my training, they're anyways available only with my training. So not everything available on YouTube, but most common important things are there on YouTube. This is the video where I will show how to port a project from WebID to Eclipse. Please go through this. You will get a fair idea. Okay. With that, I think we have to close this demo session. Thank you so much for your time, and see you in the classes from tomorrow. Goodbye.